with week 16 behind the Carolina Panthers and 2 games remaining, it was clear that in week 16 that the Carolina Panthers were not looking to fold and get a better draft pick. With that being said, their home finale against the Arizona Cardinals seemed as though it was going to be one of those games where the Carolina Panthers were willing to send a statement, and it wasn't the message that they were tanking. Want to find out how the game went on Sunday? Stay tuned to find out on Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome back, Prowlers. Glad to have you with us on this Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to you all. Of course, I am the one and only Mr. CeeLo here. And so great to have you here. Hope you guys are all ready for the Christmas day and are all in the Christmas spirit of things. Jingle, jingle. And we got a great Christmas gift before the holidays, didn't we? As the Panthers were able to snuff out a 36-30 victory over the Arizona Cardinals, who had playoff hope ambitions. And with this victory, we sent the Arizona Cardinals packing from the playoffs. Awesome for us, not so awesome for them. But I want to get started today. I want to lay down a little housekeeping, as I was unable to get my pre-game thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers up because, as I said, my hard drive's been giving me issues and it deleted it. But let me go ahead. Poe Broken Lonely says, give them hell, Mr. CeeLo. Absolutely. And then I see Apex Predator said, yeah, it's like we lost out there. Bryce is scared or something. Well, Apex, look, I appreciate the comment, but Bryce is not scared. I think the issue is we just were bad that day. There's just no other way to put it. We were just bad. And there's games like that. I mean, there are just absolutely going to be games like that, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just kind of dust yourself off and move along, because that's what you have to do if you're going to. You got to have a short memory in all this, ultimately. And I think that was basically what we needed to do. Bryce looked exceptional out there, and I know a lot of people are going to say his numbers didn't look that way, but Bryce continues to make plays when we need him. I hope you guys understand that this football team is not going to come and go where Bryce goes. I will say this, we will be successful the way Bryce goes. Because if Bryce is good on those third down plays and he's very careful with the football, we're going to win a lot of football games. Because ultimately we're building this football team from the ground up, and ultimately I can also address this we can compare this to Kyler Murray. The Cardinals win and lose on Kyler Murray. The only difference is he can make and break that team. And I think ultimately we saw he was unable to do the things that the Cardinals needed him to do when Connor went out the game. And I will address the defense because I'm sick and tired of hearing Carolina Panther analysts saying that Coach Avero needs to go. I'm sick and tired of hearing people on Facebook and all the other platforms saying this guy needs to go. But back to what we got. Panthers 36, Cardinals 30. Excellent job by Dave Canellis, who's doing a great job. It seems like both of them are getting comfortable with one another. That's what it looks like. Now, I will say this. In the second half, it did look like the play calling got a little blonde. And Canellis is going to have to learn. And I would be okay with him not hiring an offensive coordinator. I would be, however, okay with him hiring an offensive consultant. Someone who can engineer downstairs to him what he's seeing. As I said, was said in my show that didn't get uploaded, Arizona's got one of the weaker defenses in the National Football League against the run. So I was well aware that the Panthers were going to be able to move the ball on the ground. However, I was not sold on the fact that we were going to be at such a stagnant point in certain points of this game. And it did seem like at some points that Canellis got kind of complacent with running getting out of running the ball. Look, I get it. We are limited. And I'm going to do a show on what we need to do at running back once the season's over with. We need to sign this certain guy and why we need to sign him. Everybody's talking about draft one. No, we don't need to draft one. We need to stick with what works and what has worked. This guy was great for our football team, and he will be great again. But that's neither here nor there. Once again, this Carolina Panthers offense did a great job. Canellis has got to understand we've got to put our foot on people's throats. Because right now, our defense is not very good. And it has nothing to do with scheme. Everybody wants to talk scheme. And I'm going to go on with 99 the Fan. He made a statement saying, well, you've got almost all of your guys. Guess what? We were strapped for cash. And guess what? We didn't make enough moves to get a quality defensive end. You want to sit there and say you got all but Derek Brown. You've got all but Shaq Thompson. Well, guess what, genius? They're only the two most important players on the unit. The only other one was more important was J.C. Horn. Josie Jewell has turned out to be tremendous. But without Trevin Wallace, no Shaq Thompson, that's huge. Shaq Thompson's the one hard hitter we got on here. And, of course, Xavier Woods, but now he's missing tackles. Damani Richardson played pretty good. But the problem we're running into is the defense. I will say that. And the reality of it is to sit there and say, let's get rid of Avero. What are you going to do? You're going to go back to a 4-3 where Derek Brown struggled the first part of his career? See, some of you don't think Derek Brown came from a 3-4 system. Why do you think it was a coincidence that last year he broke the NFL record for tackles in a single season for a defensive line player? You think that's a coincidence? He happened to be in his first year in a 3-4 system, and look what it did. So you want to keep talking that nonsense? I'll wait. I swear I will. And then you want to say, oh, the pass rush rate was at the bottom half. We still had one of the top passing defenses, and we were middle of the road against the run. We were in so many games last year. Were we not? I think collectively we were in anywhere from 9 to 10 of these games, and Bryce threw pick 6 in about half of them. And here you are sitting here in your feelings talking about this defense is just bad. Okay. You said it on your show. And I want somebody out there that's watching the show tell me. We got DJ Wanham to replace, you could say, the Hassan Reddick effect, which that's another dumb decision our management made. So while we're sitting here and complaining about what Ichiro Avero is not doing, last time we had a good defense. Listen to what it sounded like. 99 the Fan. Or, I'm sorry, Panthers Playbook. I'm really sick of these guys. You know, I don't like to call out nobody's platform, but I'm sick of people in our fan base crying like these guys. That is what I'm ultimately sick of. Because when you look at something, for example, Scott Fitterer, who's gone now. We had a chance to sign Frankie Louvu to a long-term deal. We didn't. You chose to be cheap. Then you have Brian Burns. You had a suspicion you weren't going to be able to get him for what you thought. The Cowboys are the perfect example of what happens when you don't sign your potential stars earlier. I would rather have to be up for the cash and lose that way than to have a player leave here with nothing. What'd you get for Frankie Louvu? Nothing. What'd you get for Guido Gross-Matos? Nothing. What'd you get for Brian Burns? Nothing. What'd you get for Jeremy Chin? Nothing. And then you got this P-brain on Panthers playbook saying, if our run defense is this bad because of two guys, we got problems. You darn right. Did you answer? Did you figure that out all by yourself? And now you want to change the scheme that Derek Brown is actually elite in. How about you sit down and really think about that one instead of daggum thinking with your feelings? Derek Brown excels in this. And Ashawn is playing well. Can you imagine if we get both of those guys on the line? And then, given that we decide to either draft the kid out of Michigan or the kid out of Penn State, we're a couple of players away from this defense being back to where Everett had it last year. And here you want, I get rid of him. You still salty because J.C. Horn didn't follow him all over the field. Guess what, genius? Mike Jackson ain't that bad of a cover guy either. But guess what? He was in the slot. What did we do with our slot guy? Traded him to Pittsburgh. Whom he's being very successful in Pittsburgh. And all we got was a fifth. And a bunch of mouth mileage. I love how you guys sit here and you formulate these opinions when you said, oh, I think Deontay Johnson's a good pick. Then all of a sudden, all that lip comes behind it. And you want to sit there and you want to go back on what you said a couple months earlier. I'm not going to go back on what I said. I thought it would be a good deal if he could keep his mouth shut. And I was wrong on both counts. He produced the first couple of weeks, but he couldn't keep his mouth shut. I'm not afraid to go back and say I made a mistake saying something, but you guys want to keep throwing out things. Just like your partner said, oh, Bryce ain't that dude. I'm still not ready to call him that dude. Okay. Who cares? You've been wrong for now almost 8 weeks. So I could care less. And you guys should care less what they think. Because they're in the business of one day they're drinking the Kool-Aid, the next minute they're spitting it out. How many of y'all are just like me? You love the Carolina Panthers and you care about the decisions that they make and you care about your players. I do. I don't like to see any of these guys go. I certainly didn't want to see, because I fell in love with Frankie Louvu. Put a 2 in the comments if you fell in love with Frankie Louvu. Because let's get back to the game. I'm wailing a little bit because I get tired of the whole narrative. You win a game and you still got people criticizing you. Talk about the game should have been over. There's plenty of NFL games that should have been over with when a team gets up 20-3. The Panthers aren't the only one that give away leads. Seattle, notorious, can't hold on to a lead this year. Do I need to go on? So the Panthers aren't the only ones that are giving away leads in the fourth quarter. Rams. But overall, I am overjoyed. I saw the Panthers jump out early, 20-3. And from there, it would just turned into they just couldn't get it done. And ultimately, we were able to pull it out in overtime after Chuba Hubbard did what we've slowly become to notice of him, is make big plays. And he was big during the game as he had one of his more impressive games out. As it looked more like the New York Giants game. He had 2 runs of 28-21, and the 21-yarder was for a touchdown. And he went for 25 carries, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day. Very impressive for him. And then we had Bryce go for 5 runs. He had 5 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown and had a 34-yarder. This is what we got to have. And how many of you guys remember me saying this? That there was going to be a lot of times where we're going to have to rely on Bryce's legs. Bryce ain't no slowpoke. He ain't the fastest, most nimble guy, but he's very elusive. That is one thing you can say. You can sit there and say, well, I'd rather have a 6'3", 6'4" quarterback. There's a lot of games this year where he's been able to get out of pressure because he gets lost in the line of scrimmage. You got 6'5", 6'5", then you get 5'10", 5'11". He's able to, and then he's not very huge width-wise, and he's able to get free. He's able to get free. But I was very proud of the way he played. He only threw for 158, but he was very efficient. He was 17 of 26, 158 yards through 2 touchdown passes. And this is what we got to have, guys. We've got to have some serious talks in the offseason about getting him a big wide receiver. And we've got Adam Thielen at 543, 1 touchdown and a touch. David Moore, 2 for 39 and a touch. Tommy Tremble had 3 grabs for 32 yards. And then you see Jalen Coker had 2 for 48. That's really where I'm wanting to see more improvement, is with the younger guys. We didn't see Jatavian Sanders, but then Tommy Tremble, of course, had him a grab today, which I hope this needs to prioritize. He needs to come back. Very athletic, will hit you in the mouth type tight end. I saw a little bit more of what I've been seeing. Chandler Zavala coming in as an eligible guy. Beautiful Canellis. This is how we need to do this. This is exactly how we need to do this. Report him as eligible and run that damn football. Force the teams to figure out what we're going to do. Do our thing. Make teams have to knuckle up and go. This is our strength. Bryce shouldn't be throwing it more than we're running it. We ran it 36 times. We ran it 36 times for 243 yards. And this is what I want. This is what the fans want. Because when you sit back and you think about what we do well, we put $150 million in this line. And then we still got guys like Chandler Zavala and guys like Brady Christensen that are still not starters. Now, Cade Mays has done a pretty good job at center in place of an injured Austin Corbett. But the reality of it is, we still have not gotten our projected starting lineup on it. Cade Mays done a great job at center. Had some issues with false starts and moving the ball. But the reality of it is, we should play that 12, 13, maybe 14-man personnel. That's what you want to do. Put those guards. Some of these guards are athletic. They're not good enough to block interior linemen, but if we get them on the perimeter and ask them to, shift linebackers or turn guys to the inside like we saw several times, that's what we want. Linemen that are intelligent enough to know, hey, look, we ain't necessarily got to win the battle. Just push them where we want them to go. Blocking's not always containing your guy. It's sometimes pushing him to where he wants to go and giving the running back the lane. That's what it's about. But as I said, the offense looked good as a whole. 36 points, you guys. 36 points. Now, you got certain pundits that will sit here and complain about the defense is this, the defense is that. The defense got you 2 turnovers.
You fucking idiot. Dumb shit. Dumb shit.
I mean, I get sick of hearing guys like this complain saying, oh, well, they're not this or they're not that.
Bruh. What a dumbass.
Really? They got you 2 turnovers. Now you're bitching about the defense when it was the offense last year. I mean, let's just face it. We don't have the tools. And now you're talking about, let's get rid of Avero.
You some bitches couldn't close an umbrella. You some bitch.
I saw a Panthers team that got 3 sacks yesterday and got an interception and recovered a fumble.
You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
I mean, I didn't see the Saints do any of that last night against the Packers. Who cares? So you want to revise your statement there? I mean, we could sit there and talk all day about a team that didn't stop anybody and then gave up 30-plus points, too. But our offense won the game. Let me tell you something. You're not going to go out there and score that many points, and it's still not going to be competitive. This is the National Football League, genius. The more points you score, genius, that means the more chances a team is going to take to get back in the game. And we're not going to have a lockdown defense. You want to know why? Because we got a lot of money invested in our offensive line, in Derek Brown, and soon to be J.C. Horn. And I want to be honest with you. Changing this game plan or changing this defensive coordinator and this scheme, you won't be able to stop anybody if you put Derek Brown. You might as well just trade Derek Brown.
What?
Because Derek Brown is successful in a 3-4. Now, what you might want to do, you might want to get on the phone to Dan Morgan and say, hey, look, this is what we need to do. If he's still there, you go get that beastly of a guy from Michigan. The guy that can play edge and center. And on the line. That's what you do. Since Dan's talking about guys that fit the mold, he fits it perfectly. Now, the next question is, who do you get to be that edge guy? Because we need one. I get it. The Penn State guy looks good. But there are 2 or 3 guys in the second round that will be available to us. And I'll tell you about those guys on another show. But I've seen them. One is at Michigan, one's at Texas, and possibly one's at Ole Miss. And the reason I like them is because they've got great size. When you get a guy that's got great size, guess what? He's able to play first, second, and third down. He's not just a specific pass rusher. That's what we need more of. We got too many pass rushers that are just pass rushing the ball, and they're not able to play the run. Which is why Eidos Gross-Matos should have stayed. Morgan, Luvu should have stayed. And then all you got to do is get this guy and then maybe add somebody to want him. Jadeveon Clowney needs to go bye-byes. Good run stuffer, can't stay healthy, and he's really not been that kind of a threat. DJ Wanham has come off the bench after being on the sidelines for nearly 2/3 of the season, and he's made more of an impact. DJ Wanham has only played a third of the season, and yet he's got 4 sacks already, and he's almost had, you could count, he pretty much should have 7. He's been right there. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of this guy, and here you go wanting to change it without him having a full resource of a full season with his best players. I mean, we could sit here and say, oh, well, Bryce has not had this or he's not had. Y'all really think that that training camp or a few OTAs is going to get everybody together? Let's remind ourselves of something. Wanham didn't participate. Yeah, he didn't participate. Same thing with Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, and it's going to be that way next year. And it possibly could be that way with Derek Brown next year. And you're already talking about, let's blow it up. Genius. When Derek Brown's in this system, he's at his best. This is his system. It's your job to put the pieces together. And how many of you actually know that? That's my question. This was a good win, no matter how you slice it. You want to say, well, we should have finished it in regulation. Okay. You want to sit there and talk about the Chiefs? Guess what, genius? We ain't got Patrick Mahomes. We're not sitting there at the daggum cap with all our players intact. They just lost receivers. Our defense has been riddled with injuries. Let them lose Chris Jones and see how good that defense is. That's what I thought. And I dare you to comment. Because the reality of it is I'm not happy with the defense, but I'm not going to sit here and say, you just blow it up. There are a lot of you on that say Evero needs to go. Where you going to go? Who you going to get? Because I can tell you right now, you go back to a 4-3, this is not going to work. Not with Derek Brown. Not with DJ Wanham. These guys excel in this type of defense. Do you not know that? And you need to keep your franchise tackle, Derek Brown, as well as J.C. Horn, who has performed well under this system. You have to look at it like this. Keep what you have. Build around it. That's what building is about. Panthers playbook. You call yourself Panthers playbook. Do you even know the playbook? Or it's fire you if you don't know the playbook. We don't like this playbook. Fire him. The Panthers get a 36-30 win over the Cardinals, and you guys still got something to mouth off about. Instead of just sitting back like a lot of coaches say, I'm going to enjoy the win. I'm going to use a Georgia analogy, and I hate the Dogs. Do you think the Georgia Bulldogs said anything about 8 overtimes and them not getting the win? I mean, do you think they said anything about it taking 8 overtimes to get the win?
Why don't you explain it to me?
Shut up, shithead.
No, they didn't. They were happy they got it. And this is a team shooting for the national championship. What do you think? We were shooting for a draft pick. You sitting here talking about, oh, we should have won it in regulation. We ain't the Kansas City Chiefs. Until we get to the point where we're stacking wins, then we can chastise the ones we get. But a win in the National Football League is still a win. Whether you get it done in 60 minutes or 70 minutes, it's still a win. Very proud of our defense, despite the fact that we still having issues. Hill Kyler Murray to 200 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. James Carlin was on a collision course. They still finished with 206 yards on the ground. I get it. The run game is not the run defense is not good. It's not. But the offense wasn't good last year. Are we going to continue to blow things up because, hey, it doesn't work? It didn't cost us a game. Some of this is on the fact that Canellis needs to understand. You know what kind of game you're playing in. We got to hang on to the ball. We got to possess the ball. We can't get in a situation where we're allowing this team to run. It's not like there was another running back that came in and gashed us. It was the same story that the Carolina Panthers had. Hubbard, Connor, Murray, Young. The exact same things, gentlemen. Hey, we didn't let Trey McBride eat us up. Trey's on my fantasy team, guys, and he's been racking up 15, 16 fantasy points every game. The Carolina Panthers shut that down. 3 for 20 yards. And even the last year's Biletnikoff and rookie sensation Marvin Harrison Jr. did nothing. What you got to say about that? Not Panthers playbook. You can sit here and run your mouth about running the football and this, that, and the other, but they still didn't beat us through the air. They ain't beat us like that. We got to get better on some things, but here's the reality. Even Super Bowl contenders have issues. The Ravens are not good against the pass. They got holes. Every defense has got holes somewhere. Fact is, can you close them up enough to win? And Panther Nation out there, I love you guys, and I hope you guys don't let that kind of poison get into your ears, because the reality of it is there's some special things going on, and I want you to stick by Coach Evero, because the reality of it is I want you guys to listen to something. Out of our first 5 draft picks, we only took 2 defensive players. Shaw Smith-Wade and Trevin Wallace. That's right. You can't sit there and blame A defensive coordinator when you only give him half of what you let walk out that door. People will sit there and say, well, we got this guy and we got that guy. He got these guys basically as replacements or plug fillers to hope that he can get this defense to where he wants it to be or a semblance of what it can be. That's not a guarantee. And it's showing because Derek Brown was the anchor for all this. I'm very glad that J.C. Horn has been able to stay on the field this year, showing what our secondary is looking like. Mike Jackson has been, this guy's got to come back. Anybody that says, no, you don't have to watch me anymore. Mike Jackson has been great this year. He was great Sunday. Now we just got to get that. If Shao Smith-Wade develops into the player that we hope he can be, he played well Sunday. If we can get those three positions settled, we can get the safety position right. And I'm going to say it like this. Caleb Farley being on the team, and they're not giving him an opportunity, this guy needs to be on this team. He could be playing safety with his range. He is very fast, people. Maybe they'll take my advice and they'll follow it. Farley needs to be on the field. And all we got to do is want him paired up with somebody, get Derek Brown back. Everybody's talking about Shaq Thompson's going to be a cap casualty. I think that Dan Morgan's going to work with him. You got a lot of guys, Panthers playbook, he's going to be gone. I don't like that because we have the money to re-sign him. We needed to part ways with Jadeveon Clowney before we part ways with Shaq Thompson. And we get that guy. My whole thing is we need to go after the Michigan kid. If we can get the pick, let's say we lose out and everybody else takes a win or two. We already know what the first two picks are going to be, quarterbacks. We can get maybe the third or fourth pick and trade back maybe 2 spots. We can still get him. Get a couple of picks, maybe a second, maybe a high third. Then we can go. There are a couple of guys on edge that are really strong, really quick. We still haven't seen the best out of Amari Barno yet. Still have not seen the best out of him. He just came back. I say we sign him back and see what we can get because he's a freakish athlete. Panthers 36, Cardinals 30. We need to be celebrating, being grateful because we got Tampa and Atlanta. More than likely, not going to be a win next week. More than likely, Atlanta with Michael Penix Jr. probably not going to be a win. But let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. And then let's stay on the route to free agency and to the draft. But I hope you guys have an awesome, safe, Merry Christmas with your family. You will hear from me before the New Year's. I hope you guys enjoy, stay safe, love on each other, and give all praise and honor to the Almighty up above. And until we meet again, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.